Good afternoon. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note any website or email that I mention will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business licensing assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center at City Hall on the 8th floor or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicago.gov/business licensing. The BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program now has a new portal, and getting your certificate is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Register for the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, attend 6 free BACP webinars from listed categories and receive credit after each, graduate from the program and receive your certificate. Graduating from the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program makes you eligible to apply for a CIBC Bank USA's Entrepreneurial Loan Program. For full program details, visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. For webinar calendar, please visit chicago.gov/BACP webinars. If you are already a part of the program, your account will automatically reflect the credit for joining this webinar within 24 hours. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat box. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar will be Sidewalk Cafe Permit Overview and Application Process, presented by the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. Turning it over to you, Matthew.
Hey guys, how are you? Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Viveros. I'm a business consultant here with BACP in the Public Way Use Unit, and I review the Sidewalk Cafe applications. Okay, so just a quick overview of some things we're going to cover today. The Sidewalk Cafe overview, some eligibility requirements, some operating requirements, what a building side versus curbside cafe setup looks like, as well as the Sidewalk Cafe application. So Sidewalk Cafe permits, the Sidewalk Cafe permit is issued by Business Affairs and Consumer Protection and enables restaurants with retail food establishment and tavern licenses to put chairs and tables on the sidewalks, allowing them to serve the public. So some Sidewalk Cafe eligibility points. The applicants must have a valid retail food establishment license or a valid tavern license. A quick note, when you guys begin the application process, you want to make sure that the licenses are active. I know a lot of times you receive a lot of questions as to why you cannot proceed with the application process, and a lot of times it's making sure that the license is valid to begin with. Applicants intending to serve liquor at the Sidewalk Cafe must have a valid liquor license and liquor liability insurance per Sidewalk Cafe rules and regulations. Applicants that have only a tavern license must have a food service partner. Sidewalk cafes must be located on the sidewalk. There's a bunch of different types of outdoor seating. The ones that we're covering here today is going to be specifically for dining on the sidewalk. Sidewalk cafes must have a boundary that fully encloses the permitted area, a continuous border, and separates the area from the remainder of the public way with the exception of the entrances. Sidewalk cafes must be positioned to allow for a 6 feet clearance for pedestrians along the sidewalk. Sidewalk cafes that extend on a portion of the sidewalk in front of a neighboring business must be clearly indicated on the applicant's approved plan submitted as a part of the Sidewalk Cafe application. Such extended cafes may only extend in front of a single neighboring property and in one direction as well. So it can't go both ways on left or right. It can either be left or right in only one direction. Okay, next slide. Some other additional requirements. Sidewalk cafes must be located on the sidewalk. Again, they cannot extend into the parkway. That means on the grassy areas, that is not permitted. The streets, empty lots, or other off sidewalk areas. Sidewalk cafes must have a boundary that fully encloses a permitted area and separates the area from the remainder of the public way, with the exception of the entrances. So again, a continuous border, uninterrupted. Sidewalk cafes must be positioned to allow, again, for 6 feet clearance for pedestrians along the sidewalk. We'll go over some examples a little bit later and kind of touch on what that 6 feet clearance looks like with objects in the public way, like mailboxes, light posts, and things like that. Sidewalk cafes must be positioned no closer than 1 foot to the curb if the cafe is curbside. Sidewalk cafes may extend in front of one immediately adjacent non-retail food or liquor establishment. Permittees may not alter any city property on the public way. Trees cannot be cut down. Platforms cannot be built over the public way. Things along that. BYOB is also not permitted in sidewalk cafes. So here, we're going to take a look at the example of a sidewalk cafe that is a building side. And again, as you can see, there are a lot of obstacles in the public way, from bike racks to light posts to garbage cans and fire hydrants, ensuring that the 6 foot clearance is kept at all points throughout the sidewalk cafe between the barrier and the next closest obstacle in the sidewalk. Again, you can see here with the dotted lines that the business applying for the sidewalk cafe is on the corner, and it is extending over one, if you look on the left side, one business address, not on the other. So that's a good example of a proper extension. Here, as we take a look at the sidewalk side, the thing that really only changes is going to be the 1 foot curb clearance, because now obviously the sidewalk cafe barriers are pressed up against the curb. Again, it is not in the street, it is in the curb, and the sidewalk clearance of 6 feet is still there, still present, and still unobstructed. And then again, as always, the cafe boundary height is going to be between 2 feet and 3 feet. Anything above 3 feet may require an additional permit from the Department of Buildings, and we can get into that a little bit later as well. The next slide is just regarding the sidewalk cafe permit application. So applicants are expected to provide the following: a valid license, again, retail food establishment or tavern, applicant information, for example, details, length and width measurements, things like that regarding the sidewalk cafe, public way use information, including the location of the public way use. So making sure within the application that the address that's listed where the sidewalk cafe is in front of lists maybe any extended addresses or just the licensed business address. Photographs of where the sidewalk cafe is going to be. A good picture is to have the space where the cafe is going to be located alongside with the frontage of the restaurant. The site plan, we'll cover that on the next slide and what a good site plan looks like. The general liability insurance, again, with proper liability limit amounts, and noting that the city is additionally insured, as well as the endorsement. And then again, the dram shop insurance for liquor service. For extended cafes along the building side of the sidewalk, proof of notice to the neighboring property owner and or business. Again, this looks like a letter that can be written out, signed off on, and dated, that will be uploaded to the application documents. So this is the sidewalk cafe site plan. As you can see here, very clean, high resolution, some key notes, the cafe length and width dimensions. You can see in the example, it's a 56. It's the line that extends from the beginning all the way to the end from left to right. The cafe seating layout needs to be exact, where seats are going to be placed, how many seats, and this will be reflected in the application itself as well, including the measurements. Again, the space the cafe occupies in correlation within the property lines and street. So here, clearly in this example, you can see that the cafe is building side. If you look at the part of the cafe that extends out the most, you can see the next closest sidewalk cafe obstruction are going to be the parking meter and the lamp post close to the curb on the right side. The sidewalk clearance is still 6.5 feet, so making sure we maintain that 6 feet clearance. Detailing all obstacles in the public way and the sidewalk clearance measurements between them and the nearest cafe barrier or the flower planters. Whatever's sticking out the furthest is going to need to be where the line is drawn from the obstacle to that point of the barrier. You'll see here as well, ADA seating is necessary for all cafe spaces. The cafe entrance and the opening measurement As you can see on the right near the building entrance, the measurement of the opening is 3.5 feet. The minimum opening allowance is 3 feet, while the maximum opening allowance is 5 feet. You can have a maximum of up to 2 cafe entrances, again, between 3 feet to 5 feet. Additional details will be required on a case-by-case basis. When we communicate, I'll talk with you through the log in the portal and the program that you guys use to apply for the Sidewalk Cafe. This is what the insurance looks like. On the left, it's going to be the Sidewalk Cafe certificate of insurance without liquor. You can see if you look over to the far right, which is going to be the insurance for with liquor, towards the bottom above the description of operations, it'll say liquor liability in a blue bubble. You want to make sure that if you are a restaurant and you are serving liquor, that both the commercial general liability is completed, as well as the liquor fields contain the policy number and then the coverage as well, which will be reflected in the policy endorsement, which is the sample that you see in the middle. That is a policy endorsement, making sure that the details in blue are fulfilled before submitting. And if you have any questions, again, we can answer them at the end, but also too in the log in the application. The Sidewalk Cafe application. To begin the application process, you want to visit ipi.cityofchicago.org. This web improves the efficiency and effectiveness of Sidewalk Cafe permitting by allowing applicants and existing permittees to apply for new permits, renew existing permits, and pay the fees. And then again, here's where you're going to be able to create your account, begin the application process or the renewal process, and check on the permit status as well. Again, this is where we're going to communicate. If I have any questions, if I need any more additional information, I'll get back to you guys as quickly as I can, which is within the same day. Some of the Sidewalk Cafe application permit steps. Applications will not be reviewed until all required documents are uploaded. So what this means is that if the application is incomplete, it's not going to even populate in my queue. It's just a technical aspect of the portal that we use. We just need to make sure that everything is uploaded. Again, the photo of the storefront where the cafe space will be, the site plan, the insurance, and the policy endorsement, making sure that the business license copy is attached, as well as all the application details are fulfilled. Once the application is submitted, check the online log for any required changes or additional documents needed to complete your application. Once all necessary reviews have been approved, the applicant will be prompted to pay for the Sidewalk Cafe. The applicant must print out the permit from the portal and display it along with the approved Sidewalk Cafe plan on the exterior wall or window of the main entrance to the establishment. And it's really cool if you guys need a copy or anything like that, you guys are able to print that out from the portal. Some Sidewalk Cafe special considerations. Sidewalk Cafe permits have a 12-month term and must be applied for and issued every year. Sidewalk Cafe season begins March 1st and ends on the last day of February of the following year. The annual non-refundable Sidewalk Cafe permit fee varies depending on the size and the location of the Sidewalk Cafe. However, the minimum Sidewalk Cafe permit fee is $600. And then if there's any city debt or an account hold, it will hold up the permit from becoming active. So at that point, you want to reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that we can additionally help you with regarding resolving any city debt or that hold. Some other types of outdoor dining. Like I mentioned before, there's a couple different types. It's the full street closure. It allows 3 or more restaurants and bars to close a block for dining in the street. Curb lane closure allows a restaurant or bar to place tables and chairs within a fixed boundary, so patrons can dine in the curb lane. One thing that's not being allowed this year is full closure of the sidewalk. You cannot force patrons to walk in the street. You do have to have these 6 feet of clearance no matter what. So for more information, visit www.chicago.gov outdoor dining and click on the full street closure or curb lane closure tiles. And for questions regarding full street closure and curb lane closure permits, email CDOT at cdotpermitsupport@cityofchicago.org. For more information about Sidewalk Cafe permits, visit chicago.gov/outdoor dining and click on the Sidewalk Cafe tile. For questions about Sidewalk Cafe permits, email BACP@publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org. We'll do our best to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Yep, and we'll leave it open for questions.
Great, thank you so much. Let's look and see. Where can I renew retail food establishment license?
That's going to be with Chicago Business Direct. You can do that online or here at City Hall at the 8th floor. And we'll be able to go ahead and help you out renew your retail food establishment license.
Are Sidewalk Cafe applications required for all seating or just restaurants?
Maybe a little bit further elaboration on that for all seating or. So again, you do have to have a retail food establishment license, meaning you are a restaurant or cafe or possess a tavern license. Again, the seating that we're permitting here in this application is only going to be for the Sidewalk Cafe. So any dining on the actual sidewalk.
Do the boundaries have to be affixed to the ground? For example, can we use movable planters?
Again, the barriers have to be continuous and you cannot drill into the sidewalk. They have to be easily removable.
How long does it take to review the application?
I'm the person who's reviewing all the Sidewalk Cafe applications. As of now, I'm all caught up, so it should take maybe between a day or two at the most, but usually I can get to it within 30 minutes. So
Great. I have noticed that some restaurants have closed structures in case of rain. Is there a different permit in order to do that?
a permit for any structures may be required by the Department of Buildings. Here again, we are not permitting any structures. We're not permitting anything over 3 feet. So Department of Buildings may require a permit for any structures.
Okay, great. Can I apply for the Sidewalk Cafe license at the same time as applying for the restaurant license?
You would need to have the license active first. Otherwise, as you begin the application for the Sidewalk Cafe, you will not be able to proceed. You would need to have that license active and printed on location first.
What floor is the BACP office?
8th floor, 121 North LaSalle.
Someone is having issues with page 5 of the website. If you want to send Matthew a direct email on that one, or where can they reach you at?
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org, and we can go ahead and walk through it and see what step you may be stuck on.
Waiting for more questions to come in. If you have any question, what is the email for the Department of Buildings?
Don't have that on me now, but if you email publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org, we can send you over that email.
Great. What are the patio dates, start to finish?
So patio dates are different. Patios are separate from the Sidewalk Cafe. Here again, for the Sidewalk Cafes, the start date is going to be from the 1st of March to the next year, February 28th. That's when the Sidewalk Cafe permit expires. Again, not the patio. That is something separate.
I have a consulting business and want to offer seating for my clients to sit in front of my business and have access to free Wi-Fi and conduct business meetings. I'm assuming they're asking, is this something that is that part of the Sidewalk Cafe process, or what license would they or permit would they need?
Again, the only time that you can actually apply for a Sidewalk Cafe for any outdoor seating is going to be if you have an active retail food license or a tavern license.
Great. Apologies. So Sidewalk Cafes are all year long.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I missed this, but is smoking permitted?
Let's have that question forwarded to publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org, and then we can answer you in the email.
Great. If there's a tree in between, can I still fence with a tree inside?
You can have a tree within your barriers of the Sidewalk Cafe, but you cannot place any chairs, benches, any type of furniture. The barriers cannot touch the tree grate or the tree square. Also, again, obviously, you cannot cut the tree down. The tree has to remain, but again, you cannot place anything on top of the tree grates.
Great. If I'm getting a liquor and occupancy license, it does not affect my process for the Sidewalk Cafe.
If you have a tavern license or retail food, then you can still apply for the Sidewalk Cafe.
Going back to that consulting business, is there another license I can apply for?
Again, only the retail food establishment license or the tavern license are the only licenses that you can apply for a Sidewalk Cafe.
I understand the application won't be reviewed until all information is presented, but can I begin the application somewhere?
Yes, you can begin the application at ipi.cityofchicago.org. It's going to stay kind of in limbo until everything is completed. But yes, you can begin the application process. You can begin to gather the documents and then submit what you have. But again, not until the license is active and everything is completed will it populate into my queue for review.
Can you send out the PowerPoint after this meeting? I'll take that one. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. And I will put that in the chat as well. Lots of thank yous. Any other questions? If you could please put them in the chat, we'll give another few minutes. We'll give everyone another minute to put their questions into the chat. Any direct line with the person in charge. Sometimes it's hard to contact with the city of Chicago. I would say that that email address is a direct contact. Again, it's public way use at cityofchicago.org. We're getting a ton of thank yous, very informative. Thank you for all the information. Very helpful. We'll give it another minute, make sure there's no other questions. Okay, doesn't look like there's any more questions. Matthew, thank you for a great presentation. We really appreciate all the great information you shared. Everyone, I hope you have a great night.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
And again, youtube.com/Chicago BACP. Thanks so much.